What does hunting mean to me? This answer has changed over the years. I think it's important to know that I am actually an onset beginner hunter as an adult, even though I've been around hunting my entire life and my entire childhood. My father, and I don't come from generations of hunters. I'm a first generation American. My father taught himself how to hunt, and really, my brother and I were taught at a very young age that hunting is more about spirituality and being with nature and solitude. But it was always fun to shoot our bows in the backyard, and my dad would go on his men-only 2-week trips up north on their hunting trips or hunting camp, deer camp, and it was always a boy's sport or a man's sport. And no fault to my father whatsoever. I think that there were very little females in the industry at that time. But I loved it. I loved being outside from a very early age, and I always wanted to do what the boys were doing. So I was taught how to shoot a bow, and it was a left-handed compound, no sight, no release. And when my dad decided that he was going to purchase me a new bow when I said I was going to get into hunting as an adult, he took me to the bow shop, and we found out I was right-handed. So I got a new bow, a sight, a release, and I had to learn how to shoot a bow all over again, but right-handed. And I made that decision because it was time to feed my family. I was now on my own as a single woman. I wanted to know where my meat was coming from and fill my freezer, because now my father was providing for himself and my mother. My brother is providing for his family, and now I need to provide for myself and my future family. So hunting for me has changed over the years. And I never let it deter me that it was a predominantly male sport. I was always in predominantly male sports. It was just something, it had nothing to do with that. It was everything to do with being independent, sustaining, and knowing where my food was coming from. Hunting is not about killing for me. Hunting is, again, being out in the woods, being with Mother Nature. I feel closer to God when I'm out in the woods. A successful hunting trip for me is not necessarily taking an animal. It's feeling that peace and that calm and recharging from a very busy work week or year or anything like that. So I tend to go into the woods to recharge and speak to God, because that's where I feel I'm closest to Him. So hunting is very important to me because it keeps me grounded. It keeps me in my spiritual space. I hunt public land, and I hunt from the ground because it's very high pressure where I am. And it's challenging because it is public land, and I am a female, and it's very high pressure. So it can be very challenging, but I enjoy it because it pushes me out of my comfort zone. It makes me want to keep pushing, keep learning new things, trying new places, going further back into the woods. My most favorite time is getting in the woods before dawn and watching and hearing the woods wake up. It's the most epic, spiritual, emotional time for me. I believe we need to ensure our public lands, conservation, and I'm very proud that my father instilled that in me, that you don't take to take. You clean up the woods when you see it, you leave it better than you entered it, and you respect Mother Nature, and you respect the animals, and you thank them, and you pray every time they are able to feed your family. And I want to make sure that is instilled in the next generation to come. My name is Dayna Demarest, and this is my why.